Hello everyone, this business flow is about a digital marketing consultancy firm called Marku. Located in San Francisco, they serve the Bay Area and their mission is to combine creativity and technical expertise to create result-driven experiences for their customers. Project management is at the heart of their business core. This includes keeping track of working times in addition to eventual extra costs. Here, we see a summary of the applications and processes that Marku follows in Odoo. So let's start with the basics, projects. I'm going to jump directly to the project application. And here we're going to have a dashboard overview of all of the projects that we have. All right, so I can prioritize some projects by clicking on the star. I can also color code projects, and I can see how many tasks that I have in each project. So let's go to this project right here. All right, as you can see, I have many tasks that are assigned to different people, or they aren't assigned at all, as you'll see in this one. All right, and I have different stages as well, and I can easily transition a task from one stage to the next simply by dragging and dropping. All right, just like that. I also can manage a lot of other things from here. So I can look at all of the scheduled activities that I have for the different tasks. For example, I have one due today on this task here, so I can click on that. I can mark it as done directly from this view by clicking on the check. I can write myself some feedback and mark as done, or I can click on done and schedule the next one. Let's go ahead and just mark this one as done. If I want to schedule another one, I just have to click on the clock and schedule an activity. So let's schedule a call that will be due today. All right, and I'm going to say that we need to call the responsible of this task. I can add a description to this as well, and I can schedule. All right, there we see we have a scheduled activity for today. I can also see when I have some deadlines. So I have one that's due today, one that was 3 days ago, and one here that's in 14 days. All right, I also see the time left I have on each task. So for example, here I just have an hour left. So let's go ahead and look at this one. All right, on this task, I can click on edit and I can change the description. So here I have focus on visual content. I can say and blogs. I can also modify this in different ways by using these options here. All right, I'm also going to be able to see all of the timesheets that have been recorded on this task. So I see that different employees have been working on this task and recording their time. And so I can see the hours that have been spent and that remaining hour. So that's the time that we saw in the overview. So how much time remains based on how many hours we have initially planned. So this task is almost complete. We have that 88% completion. All right, and we do see that deadline here. So this task is overdue. So let's go ahead and see how we can communicate with our employees. Well, first of all, we can send everyone a message who is following this task. So I see all of my followers on the right by sending a message here, or I can log a note for myself, or I can ping someone specifically, like Marie-Aline, if I just want to send a message to her rather than everyone following this task. Will you please check this? And then we can log. I will also be able to chat with someone right away super easily simply by clicking on their icon. So here, someone who will see my image, they'll see that I'm available because of the blue dot, and they'll be able to start chatting with me in live time, which is very nice. We have some additional options as well on the task. We can edit this task and we can make it a child of another task, and we can create subtasks for this as well. This will just help with our task organization. So here I see that I already have 2 child tasks, and I can create a new one by clicking on create. And I'll be able to see these child tasks from that main Kanban view. I can also say if a task is recurrent or not. So I can click on this recurrent option, and then we're going to have a new recurrence tab. And I'll say how often this should be repeated. So every 1 day, week, month, or year. I can, of course, change this number. I can add a specific day. I can say this will go on forever. I can add an end date. But if I don't have a specific end date, I can also add a number of repetitions. So I'll say this will happen 5 times, and I'll be able to check out the next occurrences. And when I save this, I will have a new smart button, so I can manage that as well. So it's very easy to manage all of your tasks and to communicate with your employees using the project application. But now, Consultancy firms, they usually start the process with a quotation and a contract. The quotation covers an estimation of the costs, and the contract encompasses the scope of the project, including the payment terms. And this is what Marku does. They choose to have a project and tasks automatically created for them whenever a sales order is confirmed in Odoo. So let's jump to Odoo again, and we're going to go to sales and create a quotation this time. So let's click on create. I'm first going to choose my customer, and then I'm going to start adding some products. So let's add our digital strategist. And the first step is analysis. So I'm going to change the description here. And I expect this to take 5 days. I'm changing that unit of measure. All right, let's add another one for planning. And I expect this to take 5 days as well. All right, and then we're going to have a growth marketer who's going to work on the soft launch and launch. Okay, so I expect this to take 16 days. And save. Now I can send this to my customer, and they'll be able to receive it and approve it, and they can either confirm the quotation with an electronic signature on the customer portal, or I can go ahead and do that myself by clicking on the confirm button. Then the project and its tasks are automatically created. So let's jump back to the project application. All right, and I'm going to see that a new project, has been created with that sales order reference. So let's go ahead and click there. All right, I have the 3 tasks. Of course, I can see the customer, and the title of the task will be the description that I set on the SO line. So here we can go ahead and start editing some things. So first of all, I can assign my tasks to different people. So let's say Anita here. All right, and for planning, we're going to go ahead and assign Eduardo. But I'm actually going to record some time on this task because I already started looking at it, and I want to be sure that we're paid for that time that I spent. So first look, let's say this took 2 hours. All right, I see the hours spent, the remaining hours, and those that were initially planned. Now you'll remember that I set the unit of measure as days on the sales order, but that's converted to hours here on the task, and that will take into consideration the working calendar as well. So if I only work 8 hours a day and I have a sales order line that should take 1 day, that will be 8 hours on the task. All right, and we can also move the stage. So let's go ahead and move this to planning. All right, and we're going to go to the next one as well, and I'm going to assign this to myself simply by clicking on Assign to Me, so I don't have to go to the edit mode for that. And rather than manually registering that timesheet, I'm going to use the timer. So I'm going to click on Start here at the top. Some time will go by, and then when I'm ready to stop, I can click on the Stop button. I also have a pause option, as you can see. And I can add the description. So we'll see that the time was rounded up because I have a minimum time configured. But I'm going to leave it like that. And it'll be the first look here too. And we'll go ahead and save that. Of course, we can always click on Edit and modify the timesheet after that. All right, so that's really nice. This is how employees can register their time manually here on the task, but let's see how that time is encoded on the sales order. So I don't have to go back to the sales application in order to look at the sales order. I can simply click on this Smart button here directly from the task, which is really great. All right, now I'm going to see that some time has been delivered. So not at all the complete time, but we have recorded some time, and we'll be able to see that on the SO. And those lines are in blue, meaning that we do have some delivered items. Thus, we have some time that can be invoiced. Now, we just saw how Marku employees can easily record the time they spent on tasks, as I said before, but since many people usually manage multiple tasks at once, it can become difficult to make sure hours are being recorded correctly for each project. It can also be hard to ensure that employees aren't overloaded. So to take care of that, everyone at Marku takes a closer and wider look at the recorded times at the end of each day through the timesheets application. All right, so we're going to jump to timesheets, and here I can go ahead and start modifying my time quickly. So I can go ahead and say 1 hour spent here to here, 3 here, and so on. So I can register time this way, and we will see the total at the bottom, and it will change as I add time. All right, and we also have a shortcut as well. So if I just want to jump to this page and I want to start recording some time easily, all I have to do is click on, let's say, Project O, and I click on O on the keyboard, and then the timer has started, and I can describe my activity. All right, I can let the time go by, and to stop it, I can just click on Enter on my keyboard. All right, if I don't know which project I would like to record time for, so let's imagine I just pick up the phone, and I don't know what client it is, but I do want to record that time. I can just click on Enter, and then we start talking, and I say, oh, okay, this is for Project T, and I click on T. All right, you're going to see that this is being recorded for Project T. And we'll say call again here in the description, and all of that information will be recorded. So this is just a really great way for the employees to manage all of their time, to be sure that they aren't overloaded, and to be sure that they're recording their timesheets correctly. Now, some companies add additional costs to their invoices, and that could be for a number of different reasons, such as transport or accommodations. Now, we manage this with the Odoo expenses application. And Marco employees, for example, have the expenses app installed on their smartphones, which makes their lives super easy when they need to submit an expense for an on-site visit that they made. All they have to do is take a picture of the receipt, and Odoo will scan and extract the information from it automatically. So let me show you what that will look like. So here we're going to be able to test. And I'm going to click on Try a Sample Receipt. Okay, Odoo is going to give me some sample receipts. I'll click on the receipt, and with that picture, all of the information is going to be added here. So we have our product, I have external training, we have the total, and everything is ready just like that. So that's a really convenient tool. We can also create expenses manually, so I'm going to do that now. I'm going to say transportation. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the product. All right, and here I have paid by the employee who we need to reimburse. And I'm going to add my customer to re-invoice. Okay, so I'm going to say that this expense should be re-invoiced to Azure Interior related to this sales order. So I want to be sure that I add it there. All right, let's go ahead and add the cost as well. So let's say 100 euros. All right, we have that total. We can save. Then we can also attach the receipt, which is usually required, and then the accounting team can take care of it. So let's say it's been approved. All right, then we're ready to post the journal entries, and we can register the payment and pay our employee. All right, so that flow is entirely done. Now, once the project is finished, Marco invoices the customer with the exact hours spent on the tasks plus those expenses, like the one that we just registered. And this is going to be automatically encoded on the sales order. So let's go to sales. We're going to go to our sales order. All right, and we have everything that's ready to be invoiced now. So of course we haven't delivered all of the time that we have recorded on the SO, but we do have some things that can be invoiced. So if we're ready to invoice, we can click on Create Invoice here. But some companies would rather invoice customers at different times, like at the end of each month. So we can do that in batches. So I'm going to click on To Invoice. I'm going to look at our orders to invoice. Okay, I have a few here. So I'm going to go ahead and select all of them. Then I'll go to Action and Create Invoices. I can even select a time period if I would like to. So let's go ahead and click on Create and View Invoice. All right, and then I'm going to click on the invoice for Azure Interior here. Okay, I have everything recorded, so everything that was available to invoice. And then we can go ahead and send this. Let's see if I clicked on the correct one. Okay, we're going to go to Azure Interior. All right, here is the correct invoice that I have. And then I can go ahead and confirm this. All right, and I can send it to the customer. So I can either send by email, or I can, and we will need an email address for that. Or we can print it, so if we want a hard copy or if we want to mail it ourselves to the customer, but we can also send by post using Odoo, and we'll be able to see which address we will use and how many stamps that will take. All right, but let's just send it by email for now. They will receive the invoice, then we can register the payment and so on. And with that, the flow is complete. In just a few minutes, we saw exactly how Marku works quickly, easily, and more efficiently with Odoo. So let's do a quick recap. They first create an SO with the estimation of the hours for each task. Once the SO is confirmed, a specific project and tasks are automatically created. At that point, they can start working to make sure that they record the exact time and how much time they spent on each task, which is then automatically encoded in the sales order, as well as the expenses involved on the project. Once the project is completed, the accounting department issues the invoice and continues the payment follow-up. So it's pretty simple. So how is this flow possible in Odoo? Well, let's start with the configuration of your services. So I'm going to go to our products, and I'm going to look at our digital strategist. So here I have this product set up as a service, and that way it will create tasks instead of a delivery order. All right, so we have our product type set as service, and I'm going to click on edit so that we can see all of the options. And I also have the invoicing policy set to timesheets on tasks, all right, because we're invoicing what has been timesheeted, as we saw. And I also create a task in the sales orders project, which is created based on a project template that I chose. So here I have my template. I created that from the project application. Here I have project, and I'm going to click on the edit. I'm going to click on edit for the settings of the project itself. So of course we can add a description. We have other settings. So I have timesheets activated, and that timesheets timer that I showed you. I also have the billable option activated as well, so I can invoice that time to the customer, and then I will have an invoicing tab added. So here I have to a unique customer and the project rate set. All right, and we also have set up some expenses products as well. So if I go to expenses, configuration, expense products, all right, I'm going to go to transportation, and here I have a product that I invoice at the delivered quantities, and we also re-invoice the expense at cost. So this is how Marku chooses to work, but they could just as easily choose to re-invoice that expense based on a sales price, setting a fixed price in the sales price. All right, so let me click on that, and then we'll have the sales price if we choose that option. Okay, now we just saw how different companies can easily communicate with one another. Different departments, not different companies, as well as how efficient project management can be done with Odoo. And all of this was incredibly easy thanks to Odoo's unbeatable integration. To know more about these applications and others, make sure to check out the rest of our e-learning videos.